Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about what is essentially the talk of the town, and that is PyScript, which was announced at PyCon US by the Anaconda team. Peter Wang at Anaconda is one of my favorite people associated with Python. I do have, do happen if you do get a chance, do listen to his podcast. I think which is available on Spotify. It's with Lex Friedman, and that is also really good. But yeah, coming back, talking about PyScript, why is PyScript so big, and why is there so much talk around it? Essentially, what the reason behind it is, if you see, it gives you the ability to run Python in a web browser. So the web browser is the most accessible component of the internet today. Everyone has access to a browser, be it on the mobile devices, be it on the tablets or desktop laptops, anywhere. So that gives you the ability. The second and the foremost advantage is integration with the front-end technologies. As of now, the integration of Python with front-end technologies is available, but you do have to have a different framework and render stuff and all. But if ready-made front-end components are available, running embedding Python code within that would be a game changer. So a few other advantages such as ready-made available of Python packages with PyScript such as NumPy, Pandas. I think they come bundled with PyScript, so that is also pretty big, and it'll save a lot of people. It'll give more access to Python to people who are majorly dealing with front end. So yeah, that is why PyScript is certainly being talked about so much. So without further ado, let's get started with some examples and see how you can use PyScript and run Python code within it. So I'm at the GitHub repository of PyScript, and if you see there are a hell lot of examples which are already available. You can just pretty much copy paste all of them, and most of them do appear to be running. You just have to copy paste the HTML file and in your browser, not in the browser but Visual Studio Code, and you can actually run and see the outputs. You don't even have to type. So type out a program to see how PyScript is in action. But to get ourselves acquainted a bit better, what I've done is I've actually typed a first program, which is a simple hello world, just like everyone else does. Yeah, what are the essential components is first is the PyScript.js, which does all the magic. It enables three tags. Let me actually open another document. Yeah. So here, yeah. Let me zoom this a bit so it's visible much more clear. Yep. So to use PyScript, you need three tags: PyEnv, PyScript, and PyRepl. So PyEnv allows you to specify dependencies, just like you would do in your virtual environment. PyScript is where you'd embed your actual code, and PyRepl actually spawns up the Python REPL, where you can actually run more Python code as well. So those are the three tags which PyScript exposes once you use PyScript.js. You can actually use these three tags, and then you're allowed to work with them. So in the first example, we're just going to see PyScript, which allows us to write Python code or embed Python code within this. So I have a sample program with me. I think it would be available somewhere on the repository as well. But if it's not, do let me know in the comments. I'll make this code available. But I think it's very straightforward, and I think anyone can write this. To run this, I do have a popular live server extension already installed, and what I'm going to do is just open with live server. Let me open the network logs as well, just to see what the flow is. So if you see, the hello world is already printed. It does take some time because it has to load because we are getting the live PyScript.js from the CDN. But what it does is, because I've run the code for some practice purposes before, it does use cached versions which are small, and it does reduce some time as well. But I think that is currently a known concern, that the code which pops up will run a bit slower. But yeah, the current limitations aside, this is a pretty simple and a nice way to run Python within the web browser. A simple PyScript tag and your normal Python code. So this is pretty simple. Okay, what more? I think there's this one. Okay, so what I've done in the previous example is I've written the code in the HTML file itself. But you don't need to you don't need to always do that. For example, if you have say your Python code somewhere else, for example, I have this in the sample.py. It is the same print hello world, but what I can now choose to do is I can choose to run it from the sample.py. Let me just delete the other dependencies which I don't need, and let me close this one, otherwise it will continue to run the old one. If I now run this other code example, what it will essentially do is the same thing, but instead of fetching it from the fetching the code from HTML, it will just look into the sample file which we have mentioned and run the code from there. So this is another example of how you can write Python, keep the Python code separate and call the .py file, and that should do the trick as well. So these are pretty simple examples to get you started with PyScript. As you see, you can enable the network logs as such to make sure that what is being downloaded, what is being not, and watch what happens. The load times are, as I mentioned earlier, are a bit slow at the moment, and the code does take some time to run, especially if you're running something heavy. But I think that is something which you can live with, given the advantages. I think the advantages overweigh the disadvantage at the moment. Okay, so we have seen the first tag, PyScript in action. Now we'll look at the pyenv. So what pyenv essentially does is all the packages which we need to run our code can be mentioned in the pyenv. So bouquet, numpy, and panel. So this is just an example which I've copied from the GitHub repository they have. There are numerous ones, so you can just choose to practice with any of them. So yeah, coming back, what the pyenv tag does is all the dependencies which you need to run your Python code. So this is the Python code which you're going to be running. That can be specified here. And let me actually run this code and show you. So this is called second.html. So what I'm going to do is just second.html, so we don't lose the network logs. So if you see, the network logs are now performed, and uh, this will give you an idea of the slowness which I've been talking about. If you see, it's still running. There's no error as such, so we know it's running, but it's just a bit slow. Let's give it a couple of more seconds. Yeah, now if you see, we do have a slide bar, nice slide bar which is ready. So this is another use case, and you can do this using other technologies as well. But if you are a Python programmer who can do this in Python, you don't have to learn another technology to render this bar. You can just write HTML, and this the Python expertise which you have. Again, yeah, just the slowness aside, this is pretty neat. So this is another example. Again, this example is available on the GitHub repository. Yeah. So the idea of this example was not to show this complicated code, but that the usage of the pyenv tag and how you can mention the dependencies and the required packages. Now, moving on to a more complicated example. It's not complicated in the sense, but the idea of this example is to show you that I've used a different package called as deprecated, and this will be installed from the Python package index. So this is something which we will do as well. So let me quickly, yeah, just to explain the Python code, deprecated is a package which allows you to mark one or more of your code, be it functions, be it classes, to mark them as deprecated. So that is what this code does. And let me try to run it. So this is marked 4.html. So I'm just going to rename this. And if you see, it's already doing the favicon is not present, but that's okay. Yeah, if you see, the code is already run and it's showing us the deprecation warnings. This is another example, and the deprecated package was installed from the PyPy. If you see the logs, if you see the domain pypy.org, the package was downloaded and installed, and that is how you can use the pyenv to have your packages. Do have another example, and let me quickly run this in. Let me quickly run this as well. So yeah, this would again give you a bit of the idea about slowness, but this does a more complicated job of printing a bouquet. So yeah, let me enable the network logs. Why I'm enabling the network logs is just to make you see what the flow is, and I suggest you do that as well. So unexpected indentation. Oh, I know what I've done. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna copy a fresh example from here to avoid the formatting related errors. So you have to be careful about this as well. So what I did was in this one I just selected it all and formatted the page, and that is why it was lost. So what I'm going to do is going to copy the original example and let you see it. Another quick catch regarding the packages which are available, the examples which are available. Most of the people use the PyScript from their own. They've downloaded it. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to download it. I don't have it downloaded. I'm just going to call it. So let me just replace this and run it again. Now they should run okay. So just a catch regarding all the packages, not the packages, but examples which are available. So yeah, you have to make sure that the PyScript is actually called from the CDN, and if you don't want to call it from the CDN, you have to kind of have it in your local directory and run it from there. Yeah, if you see, this is already done. So this is a nice handy example as well. It gives you a lot of a clearer picture of how powerful PyScript can be. So the last example is of the REPL tag. So what the REPL does is, as the name suggests, it will generate a REPL module, and you can run your code in the browser itself. So let me quickly run this code, and then we'll see what happens. So if you see, it's a bit again. I just keep repeating it, but it's a bit slow. You have to give it time, and a nice REPL session is available. And the normal code which you would do in an REPL, you can do it here as well. Capitalize. Yeah. So any Python code which would write otherwise in a REPL, you can write it here as well. So this is again the third and the last tag which is available. So this was a quick video about PyScript. I wanted to get it out because PyScript I found is really intuitive, and it could actually be the future which we always wanted. The integration of HTML, JavaScript, the other front-end technologies with Python is finally here. The resources which are available for learning, I think the best resource is the GitHub repository. A lot of examples are available. The code is also available to download. It is open for contributions as well. Apart from that, Anaconda themselves have a nice blog about it, and I'll leave a link to all this in the description of the video, so do check them out, and do get your hands dirty with PyScript. Let me know what the possibilities are endless, and do let me know what you build with it. With that said, thank you for watching this video. If you're new to the channel, do consider subscribing it, and for the algorithm, do leave a like, comment, and share the video. Thanks for watching.